Welcome back to 21 Convention, the first 21 Summit. It gives me distinct pleasure and honor to introduce our following guest, a man who you will know, who many despise and are envied. I also want to pay attention to the fact that he may be known as Anthony Dream Johnson, but I think that's a name that should probably be changed, because the reality is he just doesn't dream, he achieves. Not only does he achieve, he does things socially that dares to mock and to challenge today's cultural and sexual political environment. He's a man who at a very young age, through sheer will and audacity, created this event more than a decade ago. He didn't stop there. Year after year, he kept delivering this event, more content, more speakers, and brought the men's movement forward. Additionally, recently, we had a separation and had an inclusion of specific events for fathers, and particularly the notion of transcending multiple generations into something we refer to as the patriarchy, or as society knows it, the best system of governments and child rearing known to mankind. He dared to do that. This year, he did something truly remarkable, something truly audacious. He dared have a conversation of men to women about our sexual natures and relationships with women. That conversation, gentlemen, is verboten. You are simply not allowed to have it. You see it reflected in media appearances, in media attacks, social media, personal attacks I've seen delivered at him, and how he's treated and regarded in society on a whole. And yet the man dares. He just didn't dare, but he delivered this year. We had the first ever 22Con event specifically for women, where men talk to women about the nature of our relationships, about how we're meant to be together, and the conflicts and anxieties we share sexually in relationships with them. It struck a chord. This will not be the last time you see it. Right now, I have the distinct pleasure to introduce the first president of the Manosphere, Anthony Dream Johnson.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. How you doing, boys? Enjoying the event? Yes, sir. Fuck yeah. Yeah, day 4, guys. This is it. Your last day, and I really appreciate you coming out. You know, like you mentioned, getting it done this year, taking action, stepping up. Not just for the women, but for you guys too. This year is, the craziest year of my life by far. At 32 years old, 2020 is just totally bananas. So before I begin my presentation here at the State of the Manosphere, please give yourself a round of applause for being a fucking badass, getting a ticket, and getting in that seat in the middle of a pandemic. Plandemic, whatever. Thank you. Now, without further ado, welcome to the State of the Manosphere 2020. Before we dig into the actual presentation for today, I want to highlight my 2019 speech at the first ever 21 Convention in Poland. We held that last year in the summer, back in July, Warsaw, Poland. Beautiful country, beautiful city, beautiful people. This speech is actually titled, or that speech was titled The Manosphere. It's now at 21 University and YouTube on our channel, 21 Studios. And this is actually the screenshot of the thumbnail for it. It's a great speech that I gave, very proud of it, and I think it's well, to my knowledge, it's the first speech in history given on a public stage that presents an overview of the Manosphere, hence the title, The Manosphere. And I've never seen that done before, so I really wanted to put that together for the internet and the world to see what our community is really about versus the Wikipedia bullshit where they're attacking us and defaming us, calling us racist, male supremacist Nazis, KKK, blah, blah, blah. All the insane shit they label and they throw at friends of mine, speakers, like Paul Elam and Stefan Molyneux, guys that have spoken at this event and that I've interviewed before on our channel. A lot of toxic garbage, Wikipedia, mainstream media, The Atlantic, all that bullshit, right? This speech said it's straight, and it's straight from the heart, and you can go check it out for free, in 21 Studios. And I gave that speech not only as a speaker at the convention, obviously, and the one who built it, but as a young man and as a son of the Manosphere. I found the Manosphere at 17 years old. I just started my senior year of high school. I find the pickup artist community, that was my entry into the larger community. But I've been in this community building and participating in it and engaging literally my entire adult life, or technically I guess even before I was an adult at 17. I've been in this community engaging and participating in different ways, including in very abrasive ways. My behavior today is not new, especially to Socrates, who's seen me since I was 17, engaging and pissing off all these older dudes. But I've been here my entire life doing it, and that's unique. And it's unique, I think, not just to me, but to fellow millennials in the Manosphere who found this community when it was still very young in the 2000s, early and mid-2000s like I did, although it did begin in the 1990s. Anyway, you can go check this one out on YouTube. We'll get a little more into it, but it's on YouTube, 21 Studios, 21 University, and it's a great overview of this community, a real overview from an insider and someone who really grew up with and inside this community. In particular, I discussed the 4 primary tribes of the Manosphere, at least as of 2019. That would be the men's rights activists. They've been going strong since at least the 1990s, potentially even earlier, depending on what you want to consider. The pickup artists, which got going in the late 1990s or mid-90s, if you count Ross Jeffries. And then, of course, Mystery from the pickup artists, the TV show, and the book The Game, which then ended up coming out in the 2000s. They've kind of fizzled off these days, the pickup artist community, but in my opinion, strongly, the dating coach, not cooch, Jesus. The dating coach community that you see on YouTube, it's still very strong, right? Our speakers here are a good example of that. There's other ones like, the RSD, the Tyler guys, Stone Cook, all them. So the dating coaches today, basically it's a less retarded term than pickup artists. The pickup artist community, unfortunately, and I used to call myself a pickup artist. I'm not that opposed to that title, but they did a lot of like goofy shit. For example, they called like their meetup groups, which are really amazing. That's how I met Socrates and a lot of speakers and got this convention going, the local meetup group called Top Layer. But calling your meetup group a layer of all men is like, it has to be one of the worst naming conventions in history. So I think the dating coach community is basically the modern version of the pickup artist community. It's what it evolved into. So you got men's rights activists, you got pickup artists, and these are distinct communities, online and in real life. The pickup artist community had POA Summit. The men's rights then and now have the International Conference on Men's Issues. Steve Burley was talking about that yesterday at the convention here at 21. Then you have the MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way. This has been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, especially on YouTube and on Reddit and stuff. These guys are everywhere, right? And they get a lot of heat from mainstream media and stuff. But they're their own distinct community, separate from pickup artists, men's rights. And then you have the Red Pill community, which is centered on the Red Pill subreddit, which still exists, but like MGTOW, they're both quarantined, and they're probably both going to get deleted pretty soon. What else isn't it, right? 2020. Delete, cancel culture, all this crap. That's really fucked up. I'm just very strongly in favor of free speech, but it is what it is. Anyway, you can find out more about these tribes in that speech, and just want to give you guys a little brief overview of that. This is basically another diagram of the Manosphere and how it works. In terms of the larger comprehensive community and the sub-tribes that I just went over, the seduction POA community, MGTOW, men's rights activists, and the Red Pill. You also have a larger kind of, I call it Manosphere Light, for lack of a better term. And that would include guys like maybe Sargon of Akkad, Paul Joseph Watson, Jordan Peterson, guys who engage strongly with men's issues, but they would never call themselves a part of the Manosphere. Although some people might say, well, they are Manosphere in a certain way. It's an extension of the community, and they do engage with some of our speakers. I got to meet Jordan Peterson, for example, back in 2018, Dave Rubin. Obviously, Stefan Molyneux, speaker here, has interviewed a lot of these guys. There's all kinds of connections and links. Stefan Molyneux, I used to consider Manosphere Light, but last year he started engaging a lot more intensely with the Manosphere. With the 21 convention, he spoke here at the main event last fall. This year, there's some issues with, we'll get into it, but we're still on good terms. He'll be here next year, 100%. Stefan Molyneux, great dude. But he was at our Patriarchy event last year. We interviewed him. He spoke at our convention, gave a great speech, How to Make Women Great Again. Check it out. And he was on the Red Men group several times. So Molyneux is someone who I think was transitioning from kind of the larger area into more direct engagement with men's rights activists, the Red Pill, and all this. So anyway, it's a good example. Take a look at it, ingrain it into your mind of how this community works. But we'll revisit this too in a few minutes. This is fantastic. And this is not my own work, by the way. It came from a post on Medium, this author called Deep Thoughts. He actually was an attendee at our convention in 2018. He flew in, I believe, from Germany back before the world took a shit and the COVID apocalypse hit us all in the face. It's a great diagram of basically the timeline of the Manosphere. I don't agree necessarily with everything in here, but it's really interesting the diagrams he puts together on his Medium blog he's got going. So you have pickup artists, you go to the red pill, and the red pill, I do believe, that's my opinion, as well as what's commonly accepted there, the consensus. It's basically the pickup artist community in the late 2000s, and I had this issue with it too, they were getting watered down. They became increasingly accepting of like feminist crap. And that's why, for example, on Reddit, the seduction pickup artist community, it's got like 350,000 members on it. It's not quarantined. MGTOW is. The red pill is. Why is the pickup seduction one not? It's because they're more, there anyway, they're just too soft with it. And basically the red pill spawned off the pickup artist community back in like 2011, 2012. What's interesting here is he goes into a masculine community, and then he has the red dot like you were here, right? So the masculine community, in my opinion, is what's happening to the Manosphere. The Manosphere has existed in these different subgroups for a long time. Basically, when the internet got started, it's been growing ever since. But what's also been happening is as it grows, it's actually, the communities are growing because the internet, we're reaching more men, right, over time, every day. But on top of that, they're coalescing together into a larger cohesive movement. The subtribes, these names, you know, my MGTOW, my pickup artist, my red pill, whatever, purple pill, tradcon, all this shit, that'll always kind of be a thing, but I think they're lowering in importance. And the community itself is a manosphere, like this 21 Summit, where we have an event for men, an event for fathers, an event for women even. That's all kind of coming together. There's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of positivity, a lot of common values and common missions and common goals, and common enemies. Feminists don't give a shit if you call yourself red pill, MGTOW, or a men's rights activist. They fucking hate you. They hate you equally. Some of them are so fucking crazy, they'd shoot you with a firing squad given the opportunity, no matter what kind of, how you fucking identify. They don't care. And there's articles on this too. The Atlantic just had one come out recently, a few weeks ago, I think. And they're just, it's a whole book that came out, it's attacking the manosphere, saying it's all misogynistic garbage, which is bullshit. Most of that's even projection. There's like super sexist and they hate men and they just dump it on us. One of our speakers last year, Richard Grannon, at the Poland Convention, he had a great thing where he was talking about this issue. He has another one, by the way, that got taken out by COVID with travel restrictions, unfortunately for this event, but he'll be back next year. I love Richard Grannon. But basically, feminists are fucking bullies, and they'll accuse you of bullying. So he was like, who's the bully now, huh? Anyway, if you watch his speech, you could see him get into this, but it's pretty fun. But these people who, the feminists, are just bully, 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 and they hate us all equally. Anyway, this red dot in the manosphere coalescing into cohesive community, I believe the manosphere is the only real counterculture that exists right now at a cultural level. Political conservatives, we call them cuck-servatives sometimes, because they talk about like, maybe family values and the collapse of the family, which is a big issue in the manosphere we talk about too. But they didn't do jack shit about it 90% of the time. It's all bullshit, ballless losers. They get nothing done. They have no backbone and no spine. The manosphere does. This is a real pushback against feminist garbage that is making women act like men and men act like pussies for a long time. And it's collapsed in the country. The country is literally burning right now from it. We'll get into that more, but anyway, I think we're at a really important point, a pivotal point in human history and in American history. We're at the point of like a next enlightenment, a masculine rebirth and a masculine enlightenment. That would also lead here, by the way, like you say, into a feminine rebirth, which I think we're seeing the very, very early beginnings of with Make Women Great Again and the 22 Convention, the first ever Manosphere event for women. So it's a good diagram. Check out his Medium, medium.com @deepthoughts. Great dude. This is another one he made, so I'm stealing his shit here, right? But I think we get along pretty well, so be all right. This is a great diagram he put together again. And it basically shows a lot of our speakers, in his opinion, who's a contributor to the Manosphere and who's not. So I don't necessarily endorse everyone on here, obviously, but it's a good diagram. He gave me, in the middle of Convergence, my own, right after I met him, he put this together a few weeks later, my own Convergence section. But he has foundations, and he has basically the different communities and tribes, things like that. What's interesting about this is not just, it's a lot of people you can look at and learn from, right? What's interesting is if you add this up, what's actually happening. If you add together all the speakers in this room, all the speakers who have been here at this conference, the 160 plus speakers who have spoken at 21 Convention, all the guys online that are content creators and YouTubers that have yet to speak here and whatever they're doing their own thing in the Manosphere, if you add that all up, we're probably reaching over 1 million men a day, perhaps several million, every day of the fucking week. 21 Studios last year reached over 10 million men just on our channel. That's just one channel. Coach Greg Adams, 150,000 subscribers. Stefan Mullen, who had almost 1 million before he got digitally executed a few months ago. We're reaching millions and millions of men on a weekly basis. Throughout the year, hundreds of millions. So that's again, I think, why the Manosphere coalescing together is important. We need to start viewing and thinking globally, thinking big. Think big and kick ass like Trump, right? But the actual amount of people we're reaching, men specifically, a few women too. We all have well, Bruno has a lot of women that follow him, like Rich Cranon. But like me and Coach Greg, we have like a couple percent, for example. Other YouTubers and stuff, it's always a couple percent. But mostly it's men. We're reaching millions and millions of men that are going to lead relationships and build families, or not, and go live on an island, whatever you want to do. But we have a big impact. It's the impact that matters, and the impact is real. And it's widespread, and the numbers are growing and growing and growing, in spite of cancel culture, in spite of shadow banning, in spite of censorship, in spite of all this big tech fucking garbage that we have to deal with every day of the week. That 10 years ago was a lot less. But now we have to deal with this crap. We'll see how it goes. But don't underestimate the impact of the Manosphere. A lot of guys, you have personal interests. You're like, I watch, George Bruno, and I watch Jesse Lee Peterson. It's not just your own interest, it's that there's a lot of guys like you, millions of men like you, that need the information, that desire it, and are searching it out. And they watch other guys. They watch Coach Greg, and they watch Coach Red Pill, and they watch Socrates, and they watch, Zach Small. Almost said Hunter Drew. Zach Small these days. But the impact is big, and it's intense, and it's working. Men are waking the fuck up and making different, better decisions. And that's spilling over into the rest of culture, into families and children, and then the women benefit too. Common mission. This is basically the conclusion I made with my speech last year in Poland, back in 2019, the Manosphere. I wanted to look at a common purpose and a common mission and common values we shared for the Manosphere, because they didn't really have one. The Manosphere, what was it about exactly? Well, it was a collection of men and fathers on the internet, making themselves better, becoming more masculine, healing the masculinity, making their families better, whatever the case was, right? It's different per person. But a real common mission for the Manosphere and a common purpose is a positive future for men, boys, and fathers. This kind of became obvious to me. This wasn't like some master plan. I think I was talking to George Bruno actually one time. It was kind of rolled off the tongue. And George Bruno was like, say that again? And I was like, yeah, it's a positive future for men, boys, and fathers. And that to me felt very organic. It felt very organic, not just for an individual part of the Manosphere, like MGTOW, get a lot of heat and stuff, right, or the Red Pill or whatever. This is consistent throughout every tribe in the Manosphere. It's positive content, and we're thinking about a positive future for men, boys, and fathers in different and distinct ways. The men's rights activists focus on politics and legal issues, like in family law and family courts and things like that, and divorce court. They've even had some success. Up in Kentucky now, they have default equal shared parenting, which I was talking to Dr. Warren Farrell on the RedMed group a few months ago. It's a great model for the entire United States to default 50-50 custody, something, of course, that he got kicked out of a feminist organization for bringing up. It's too much equality for the feminists, right? Of course. But each tribe of the Manosphere has a specific focus. That's why there's different tribes, different pain points, different focuses, disagreements, agreements. There's infighting, there's combat, there's conflict between the groups. But all of them share a positive common values, and everyone wants to get better themselves, and generally speaking, the men around them. When I don't have any kids myself, I'm still saying, I don't have any kids that I know of anyway. But when I'm driving down the road in Orlando, going back to my house or something, and I see an elementary school, I know there's a bunch of kids there, boys and girls, but I'm thinking about the boys because I was a boy. I was a boy once not too long ago, 20-something years ago, right? I know these kids are getting fed fucking garbage. Feminist garbage, they're getting taught that they're basically defective girls if they're a boy. They're getting fed Ritalin, all kinds of fucking drugs and shit. Now we have the fucking nuts. I don't like seeing that. They're not my kids, whatever. I don't even know who their parents are, whoever, whatever. But they live obviously nearby me. I don't like seeing that shit. And you shouldn't either. It's fucked up. Because that used to be you once. You were a little boy. You'll probably have a son someday. You want to see that shit happen to them? These days I'm thinking, let's go back here. These days I'm thinking about my nephews. These are my two nephews, Tyson and Bryson. Tyson on my left here and then Bryson on the right. They're brand new, my first nephews. They're both little boys, Irish twins, I guess you call them, about 1 year apart. But I'm thinking about them now. They're not my own blood, but they're my sister's, there's her sons, obviously. What kind of future are they going to have? Are they going to taught their defective girl, get fed all kinds of fucking psychiatric drugs and shit? No. I'm sick of this shit. So there's a common origin to the manosphere. And one of the myths is that it's just a reaction to feminism. And they use a reaction to try to weaken the manosphere, to try to basically mock it, like you're reacting rather than a response, an affirmative or an assertive response. The manosphere, in my opinion, is not just a reaction or even a response to feminism. Wrong. It's a response to, and a healthy response, a strong response to the outcome of feminism, to the collapse of families, to the collapse of gender relations, to the collapse of masculinity, common sense masculinity, common sense femininity, like we're seeing now being rebuilt finally with Make Women Great Again. So it's a reaction to the outcome, the rise of single motherhood to epidemic proportions. The black community now in America is at 70%. That's fucking crazy. 100 years ago, nationwide, it was 2%. Now for white people, it's like 40%. Hispanics is 40%. It's fucking out of control. It's the collapse of intact families, of intact family formation. This is certain death for any nation or civilization. So these are the outcomes of feminism. It's all about, look at it, look at the underlying words here. Feminists are all about what? Smash the patriarchy, smash the patriarchy, smash the fucking patriarchy. From day fucking one, they've been all about this. For 100 years now, they've been smashing the patriarchy. We don't even live in a patriarchy, we live in a fucking matriarchy. And they have the fucking nerve to call it a fucking patriarchy to this day. It's bullshit. So smash the patriarchy is a lie. It's always been about smash the family and smashing fatherhood. And to a large extent, they've succeeded. They've almost killed it off. Well, fuck all that. The manosphere is a huge and a healthy and a positive response to the outcome of feminism, which has been super toxic and super negative. So anytime they try to tell you it's just a reaction to feminism, fuck you. And ran. The presidency, 2019. So in 2019, I realized, early 2019 too even, there's never been a singular leader of the manosphere in any sense. There's never been one at any point, no one's ever tried. It's a 20-plus-year-old community, it's just kind of this disorganized thing, right? Kind of like feminism. Feminism's a very disorganized mess. That's part of the reason it's so nebulous and hard to combat. It's like this fucking, like the Blob, like that old black and white thing in the movies. It's just fucking everywhere and everything. Your home, schools, government, military, universities, the workplace, it's the internet, movies, TV, books, it's fucking everywhere, right? It's the plague, the pink plague, I call it. But I realized in 2019 that the presidency would be useful, a real leader of this community that would step up to the plate and take fire and take heat. There was also some very toxic negative elements in our community that I thought needed to get purged. And a presidency would be a useful tool to do that, so I did it. And I made some exiles and digital executions of my own, we'll call them. And during the Hypergamy Wars, we'll call 2019 now from now on, the Hypergamy Wars. But a main purpose of the presidency was to create a lightning rod. And so it was an audacious move for me to do this. I didn't ask for anyone's permission. I just made the declaration and did it. Basically finders keepers. Haha, bitches. But lightning rod, we really needed this. And this is an example. Now, not only is the presidency a lightning rod, I thought, now I'm biased, but I thought and I still believe I'm in a really good position to do this. I'm young, I'm 32. I've been in the manosphere literally my entire adult life. I know it top to bottom, A to Z. I know and I've met and have usually positive, good relationships with almost every leader that's either currently a part of it or has ever been a part of it. I know a lot of these guys on a first-name basis, contacts my phone, people I talk to and I meet. And then above and beyond that, connections beyond the manosphere too, which is useful and helpful to our community. But I'm a lightning rod, and I'm 32. I'm pretty anti-fragile, even though, I'm not invincible. You can still get canceled. You can still get kicked off the internet. I've been getting death threats all year. There was a Canadian feminist who threatened to shoot my nephew, Bryson, the little older one. So, it's not perfect, but I'm ready to rock. And I've been, I think, kind of preparing for this my entire life, incidentally just being me, being the dream, just being an abrasive asshole, which is a lot of fun. Although I promise I have more to my personality than that. More than you see on Twitter just screaming at people and stuff. But I'm a lightning rod and I'm anti-fragile, and I think I've demonstrated now through action, not just talk, but action, that I can go to bat and combat with the mainstream media on the fly and do extremely well. I think feminism, as Piers has been discussing here or hinting at, I think feminism has collapsed into rampant sexist, man-hating bigotry and female supremacism.
I don't hate
That's
any
what these
men.
hashtags mean. Toxic masculinity, the future's female. I'm not female. Where's my future?
Okay, let's bring in Janice Fiamengo.
Well, your
Janice Fiamengo,
future is mansplaining to women,
Janice
apparently.
Fiamengo, you are an anti-feminist
Women
Canadian
love
professor.
mansplaining.
There is an argument.
Which is something that the president and a leader of this community has to do. Not just once, but over and over and over again. Another thing, too, before I move off this, is that, again, I don't have any kids yet. My responsibilities are significant, but specific, and kind of flatlined. They're me and this company, and this event, 21 Studios, the 21 Convention, the Red Man Group, the 22 Convention, all these things. Those are my responsibilities. I think a little bit beyond that about my nephews now, my sisters and things like that. But for the most part, I do not have kids. I do not have a wife. I do not have a mortgage. So my risk, it's mostly on me, and I'm happy to take that on, the brunt of that, because I'm not, I don't have kids to feed. I was hearing Jeff Putnam speak at the Patriarchy event, and then a minute ago on the 21 report with George Bruno, he was homeless till 7 years ago, and he has 9 kids. I don't know how long he was homeless, the exact specifics of this. But that's really fucking serious. Now, he's been not homeless for 7 years, thank God. But he's got 9 kids, so that's a lot of responsibilities that I don't have. That's 9 specifically that I don't have, or 10 counting a wife. So I'm in a good position to do it, and that's just how my life has played out. I stepped up to the plate, got shit done, and I'm gonna keep getting shit done. So I mentioned the Manosphere having impact, but specifically the presidency too. This was the tool that I'd hoped it would do, or the outcome that I hoped the tool would accomplish. Did I say that right? Yeah. So when I made the presidency in 2019, I basically established the office, so to speak. I had hoped that at some point we would do something that would go viral. I had no idea that within 3 to 4 months tops, I think about 3 months, we would go viral. We reached with the Make Women Great Again, the 21 Convention, and the 22 Convention earlier this year and throughout the year a little bit, but mostly January, February. We reached over 150 million people with a message of Make Women Great Again and basically representing the Manosphere. Make Women Great Again basically hit all these news outlets and a lot more, all over the world. Over 150 million people reached on social media and the internet, terrestrial radio stations, podcasts, TV shows left and right, newspapers, all kinds of stuff. Everything you see here and like a ton more. Even celebrities like George Takei and Alyssa Milano were coming after us, and a couple news anchors, I don't know their names, but these people that go on the news and they're like legal analysts and shit, they're all feminists, right? But the Manosphere, or the presidency of the Manosphere, is part of what enabled this. They came after me, the self-styled president of the Manosphere and all this shit. It pisses them off, which is useful, because their values are all inverted, because it's fucking clown world. Everything they hate is a good thing. Everything they think is a good thing typically is shit. So it's a really useful tool for this, basically. It's good to, suck up all the negativity, embrace the hate, and then spit it back in their face. Like, I don't know, Bowser or King Koopa or some shit. Fireballs, like, pah. Fake fucking news. I got to call Piers Morgan fake news to his face. That was pretty fun. I really enjoyed that. It was very, natural. So I'm working on new zingers, too. They want me back on the show. I was talking to producers a couple days ago, so I'm thinking, extremely fake news and shit like that, just to really, just ruin his day. Anyway, the presidency is a useful tool, and we'll go now into the first term accomplishments. Maybe. Yes. So it's still a new thing. It's barely a year old. It's a year and a couple weeks at this point. And I think I've gotten a lot done. So we're going to take a look at that, see what the dream, President Dream, or El Presidente, as Tex calls me, has accomplished. So I went on national TV with Piers Morgan in front of about 1 million people live. They have tuned into the show every day. This was January 20th, 2020, earlier this year. And in my opinion, and I'd actually talked with Hunter Drew about this a few months prior, I declared feminism a national security threat to the United States live on TV with these people, in front of 1 million people. Excuse me, I'm mansplaining here. She said there's nothing radical about feminism. There are prominent American feminists like Linda Gordon calling for the destruction of the American family throughout America, Canada, and the UK. That, in my opinion, is extremely radical. In fact, it's probably a national security threat that should be examined by the American and Canadian and UK governments. It's extremely serious.
Just because there are
and
some individuals that you take issue with doesn't mean that there is fundamentally a problem at the heart of
and single mothers and broken families and all this stuff.
Okay.
And I believe that specifically because there are prominent major feminists like Linda Gordon that have been talking for decades about not only smashing the patriarchy, but dismantling the family. BLM today just had that until a few weeks ago on their website. Dismantle the nuclear family and smash the patriarchy, all this fucking anti-fatherhood garbage, anti-family garbage. So I believe this is real. This century, I believe America will die or feminism will die. So it's my goal to abolish feminism and make women great again, but a lot of that comes back to the family, emasculating and femininity. So this is real. There really should be people in Congress analyzing or having the military do it or whoever, the agencies. It's serious. Feminism is a completely system-wide plague on the fucking culture. It is everywhere and in everything. And if it continues, you'll see fatherhood completely collapse. You'll see motherhood rise to 70% or 80% across all the races, and this country will fucking burn. It's already burning right now. And it comes down to feminism and smashing the patriarchy and smashing fatherhood and smashing the family. So I thought that was pretty good to say on TV, and to my knowledge, it's the first time anyone's ever said that on TV in front of like 1 million people. So it's a good moment and a good opportunity. I'm glad I did it. Historic expansion of the Manosphere to reach 150 million people. I believe that was so many people were reached, the community itself actually grew a little bit from that permanently. That's a very positive thing. And I did that through launching the extremely successful Make Women Great Again campaign itself. So growing the Manosphere, these kind of viral campaigns, it's useful to the extent no one gets killed off, no one gets banned in the process. And we did that. And I'll tell you right now, when this popped off in January, people were worried. The media was coming out as hard. There were speakers here at this event that have professional licenses with governments and stuff like that for their careers. It was dangerous. And I took as much as I could of that heat, but I can't take all of it. Physically or logistically, they're just not going to allow that to happen. It's going to spill off. Whether I like it or not, no matter how much I want to take the heat, they will find ways to attack our speakers. There's speakers here in this room, they almost lost their jobs because of it. In fact, one that couldn't make it because he had cancer, but he's going to be okay. That's why he had to pull out of the event. I don't need to say his name or anything, but it was pretty serious. But he almost lost a license he had as a professional in his career. For decades he's had it, specifically because of Make Women Great Again. Because I offered to hire him an attorney and stuff, whatever, but we're not invincible, and I can't, command the world like that. I can't protect everybody. I'll do the best I can. Anyway, we also launched an initiative to abolish feminism live on TV. And now abolishing feminism, I used to say destroying the feminist establishment, all these very smash the matriarchy and shit like that. I still do sometimes. But being an abolitionist, I think it's a lot better. Abolishing feminism. And it was actually Piers Morgan who was the one who actually first described me as that. He introduced me on TV. And as he wants to abolish feminism and make women great again. And I knew, as soon as he did that, that's what we have to use primarily going forward. Because being an abolitionist is a very positive thing. And this is an accurate description, too, of what I want. Feminism has had its day, it needs to end, and abolishing it is a way to do that. So now I'm an abolitionist, and by extension, that's going to spill off to the Manosphere, which I think is pretty healthy. A widespread consensus in the Manosphere seems to be that feminism sucks and needs to end. It needs to die, basically, as a cultural, toxic, super toxic movement that's not just political, not just legal, and all this garbage that they make up. It's everywhere. It's in every the social fabric of the United States and the West. This year, I built the second ever Manosphere event for All Fathers. That's the 21 Convention Second Patriarch Edition going on right behind us right now, even as I speak. And that started last year in 2019. And before that, in the Manosphere, there had never been, so the old Manosphere we'll call it, right? There had never been an event designed for fathers in the Manosphere, ever. There had been little meetups, this and that sometimes, but not like an actual convention, not a conference of Manosphere leaders who were fathers and were patriarchs and were in favor of patriarchy, not smashing it, but rebuilding it, constructing it, building something new. So first time ever that was done last year, and we did it again this year, and we're doing it again next year. This year I built the first ever Manosphere event for women to make women great again, going on right over there. That is also brand new. No one's ever had the audacity or maybe the creativity or whatever combination of being an asshole it takes to do that, to be a mansplainer, a professional mansplainer. And part of the reason I did that is I realized with the convention, all this mansplaining crap, I realized one of my primary jobs in life as an entrepreneur is not, people think of me as like a conference organizer and shit like that. I like event architect a lot better, it sounds a lot cooler. But ultimately what I do is I'm like a headhunter, and I hunt down mansplainers. And I put them on a stage, and I put a camera in their face, and I get as many millions of people to watch them as I can. And I'm pretty good at it. I'm doing it for 14 years now. So it's a lot of fun, and the Manosphere event for women, I think, was destiny. I am not, people I'm sure will call me like Admiral Sabaho or some shit, but ultimately I think it's very natural for men to want to help women to the extent it's not at a major cost to themselves. The manosphere, building positive masculinity, let's call it, it's very natural to want to see women do well. Now, you should not be a simp, not be Captain Sabaho, and doing this in your personal life is super dangerous. But as far as your country burning down, women being the fattest they've ever been in history in America, there's a lot of fucked up shit going on, and they're falling apart. And they've also demonstrated, too, that they're not going to rein in feminism. They've clearly demonstrated that. There's a few standouts, like Janice Fiamengo and Jennifer Molesky over there at 22Con, but by and large, women are not going to rein this in. They're looking to men to help stop the craziness of feminism. There are women in that room over there at 22 Convention that believe this firmly, that feminism is toxic, and they want it to go away, they want it to stop. Men need to step up and do this. We need to help make women great again. At minimum, light a huge fire for other women to do it too. Built the mansplaining event of the century. I thought that was pretty fun, pretty dope. Went to war with the feminist establishment, the fake news. Again, not only said I would do that, I actually went out and did it really well. I thought that myself, and the fans seemed to agree. They were very happy with how I performed in the heat of the moment at 3 in the morning, on live TV. And I'll do it again. And then finally, I physically united the Manosphere at 21 Summit. For the first time ever, we brought together, not only built a women's event, built a second fatherhood event, we brought together men, fathers, and women at the same time, the same weekend, the same place, during this COVID pandemic bullshit. It was tough, but we did it. I did it, the speakers did it, you did it, the staff did it. We pulled this off. This event has been historic. I know you guys are having a good time, you're learning a lot, you're thinking about your own goals and your own issues and problems that you want to work out, how you can become more masculine and make your life better in different ways. The fathers over there are doing the same thing at 21 Convention for the Patriarchs, and the women over here at 22Con. But this event truly has been historic in ways you don't quite realize yet. And the days after, when you think about the event, you thought about the Patriarch event you've been walking by, and the women's event you've been walking by, maybe looking in the door, seeing what's going on, the pink and the blue and all the different colors and shit. There's a lot going on here beyond your own personal interest, which are good. You need to focus on yourself first, 100%. But also you're contributing to a huge platform that's beyond the room you're in, and beyond the cameras, and beyond the content. It's over there, for different audiences and different men and different women. Very positive thing to bring this together. Whoa. One more thing here too. So we went over the 4 major tribes of the Manosphere, right? Earlier. And in my speech last year, you can see on YouTube, the Manosphere, just a simple title. The seduction community, the MGTOW community, men's rights activists, and the red pill community. But in my view, there's now firmly and cemented now, there's a 5th tribe of the Manosphere. And I think this is why in 2019, when I started the Patriarch edition, it really pissed off a lot of the non-trad guys, we'll say, in the Manosphere. Just like in 2009, when I was doing 21 Convention was almost strictly a pickup artist type event. And I decided to expand it, bring in doctors and personal trainers, medical doctors that would speak on health and fitness. It pissed off a lot of fans. They viewed it strictly as a vessel for pickup artists, dating coaches to speak on a stage. And I was like, that's cool, we've been doing that, we're gonna keep doing that, and we're gonna do more shit, because there's more to life in being a man than picking up chicks. This pissed a lot of guys off. This sounds ridiculous, but in 2009, the peak of the pickup artist stuff, I was getting hate mail for this. Angry guys writing these huge letters cursing at me and shit. Kind of like feminists, right? That I get now. The other day I got an email that was like 100 fuck yous in a row. It was just like this huge fucking thing, right? This wall of fuck yous. But last year and this year now with the Patriarch edition, I think we're seeing a 5th tribe of the Manosphere, and I think it's pretty firm at this point. And it's not just the Patriarch edition, that's a physical gathering of fathers, the patriarchs you see there. It's from the communities like Fraternity of Excellence for Hunter Drew and Zach Smallruns and his Craig James. You also see in the Order of Man with Ryan Michler, or Michler? Can't pronounce names today, whatever. But there's a lot of father communities in the Manosphere. And I think that if you look at these other communities, where would the fathers fit in? Because I can guarantee you there have been fathers in the Manosphere since the fucking 90s. What are they, orphans? Just floating around in the middle of nowhere? No. But well, they have been, I think, in the Manosphere Light, and the Tradcons and the Fathers and the Patriarchs, but I think they're now their own distinct group, and that's why there's an event for it, not just once, but twice. That's why you have multiple online communities like the Fraternity of Excellence and more, an Order of Man, and even beyond that. So I think now there's really a distinct 5th group of the Manosphere, the Patriarchs. Zach will kill me for using this picture, but it's the thumbnail from his speech last year, with his old name, Hunter Drew. But that's why we have that event. That's why we have these distinct communities. There's a reason it exists. People bitch at MGTOW and stuff. I'm like, look, whatever you think of MGTOW, agree or disagree, there's a reason that community exists. I think they're doing pretty good stuff. They're getting men out of harm's way. From divorce rape, family court shit, toxic relationships, they're doing good stuff. You can disagree with going your own way and stuff all day long, whatever. They're doing positive, useful things for men and helping men wake up to a culture that hates them for being men. The patriarchs, though, are their own distinct group now, I think, and they don't fit squarely anywhere else, and there's enough of them that I think they are their own group. So it's the patriarchs, it's men, and it's not just anyone who's a dad in the manosphere, it's people who believe firmly and strongly in common sense masculinity and fathers leading a family. That's what these guys represent. You can call it tradcon, traditional masculinity, traditional fatherhood, whatever. I think patriarchy is a fantastic term. That's why the feminists fucking hate it. They hate it with a passion more than anything. What do they say the most? Smash the patriarchy, smash the patriarchy, smash the patriarchy. It's their favorite fucking term. Politicians still say it to this day. It's fucking delusional, at least in America. It's been dangerous too, though. Check out the meme. Fresh off the press. It was an emergency meme we had made this morning. Executive order. And he did it. And he killed it. For those of you who don't know, this is the CEO of YouTube, Suzanne Wojcicki, or some shit. I can't say her last name. Yeah, so basically she's Thanos, and she snaps and deletes YouTube channels. This has happened. This happened to my good friend, Stefan Malin, who's speaker of this convention. Been on the Red Man Group, a lot of stuff with us. He had a channel that would have reached over 1 million a long time ago, but he got to like 930,000 subscribers about a year ago, and they kind of froze his account. It kept just kind of hovering at like 928,000, like all this bullshit, no matter what he did. There's shadow banning. They're manipulating his channel, fucking him over. And beyond the subscriber count, all kinds of mechanisms. Recently, before they finally basically killed him off the platforms, executed him, they even pulled his name out of the search bar. So if you go to YouTube now, for the past 15 years, you could type Stefan, and Stefan Malin would pull up in the options. Just disappeared like a couple weeks ago before he got banned. It's crazy. But anyway, being in the manosphere and being a content creator in any way engaging this community is dangerous, especially right now. Now, I hope this changes. I believe it will change in the coming years, but for now, it's dangerous. And we had a man down this year. It's so sad. Stefan is a badass dude. He's going to be all right, but this sucks. I didn't shed a tear, but, if I was a pussy, I would have cried. Losing your whole... I have a channel with like 2,000 videos on it. I mean, just like him, he was 2006 he started. I started 2007 on YouTube. If I lost that channel, man, I wouldn't just be pissed. I would be really deeply sad. That's a huge body of work that got killed off a platform just for having ideas, just for speaking freely, just for being a man, just for promoting masculinity, promoting fatherhood. That's why it got killed off. It went beyond YouTube, too. It went to Twitter. He was on Twitter for like a week, killed him off there, too. They Alex Jones' ass. Took him out back, boom, shotgun to the face on Twitter. He's basically removed from big tech at this point. All these platforms, he's gone. Speaker of this convention, he doesn't exist anymore in your life. On your major apps, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. He's still on Instagram, but Facebook he's banned. Instagram, he'll probably get banned soon. This shit needs to stop. These pussy cuck conservatives do nothing about big tech, beating down on everybody. They just want to speak and be an American, or Canadian in this case, and have some ideas and debate with people. This is bullshit. This needs to end immediately, or as soon as possible. The Manosphere, join or die. Stefan Malin would get nuked off, major platforms just like that, just for having wrong thing, just for having his own opinions and his own ideas. I really believe this community, like I said, not only is it coalescing, but it needs to. The more we do that, and the more we build audiences individually that don't get killed off, because they're smart, we use things like peace leave and all these fancy terms and shit to evade the censors and the banning and stuff. It's good. The more this community unifies and gets together, the better. There will always be infighting, there will always be combat, there will always be competition and conflict. That's what men do. If we weren't doing that, we wouldn't be men. We'd be a bunch of pussy-ass beta males. And there are some things that are not manosphere that pretend to be. I think like the Mankind Project is a good example of that, if I'm saying it right, if they're identifying it right. These are guys that pretend to want to help men, but really they just want to make them subservient to women and feminine interest. And that's fucked up. That's not what we're here to do. I'm fine with that happening and helping women, making women great again. We need to make them great again and not in the waist, because they're super fat right now. Good Morning Britain, they actually asked me, the producer, we had a call the other day, and they were like, they take notes before you go on the show to make questions for the TV host, Piers Morgan and stuff. And like, what do you say to women who say that women are already great? I'm like, well, American women are the fattest women in history, so there's zero facts to support your argument, and I guess they are great, but like, we don't want them this way, that's not good. It's true, too, that's why I tweeted it, like, right after. I was like, that's a true statement. But you can't say that shit. Like, it's amazing how to get banned. I get people all the time, they're like, how do you not get banned? I'm like, I got Manosphere Guardian Angels, man, I don't know. Some shit. Anyway, this community needs to keep unifying and getting together physically and online, and to the extent that we can, having each other's backs. As soon as the Femme Molyneux got banned, I told all of our fans, on our channel, our newsletters, everywhere. It pissed me off. I don't have, YouTube access. I can't unban him. I can't, I'm not the president of the United States. I can't just, start doing shit, attorney or some shit. But I did what I could. I told our fans who support him and help him. I told them to give him money immediately. I don't care, $5, $10, $1,000, send him money. At least that gets him funding to do something new, to go on alternative platforms like BitChute, Library, and things like that, Gab. Do something. Help the guy. Because when he's under attack, we need to help these guys. That's fucked up. So we need to keep uniting and moving together, and this is an example of that. The snake is this, I don't know if you guys can read that, but at the back it's the JBP Lobsters from Jordan Peterson, Pickup Artists, MGTOW, the TradCons, which I think now are the Patriarchs, the Red Pill, Red Man Group, and then 21Con. One of my fans made this last year. A united Manosphere. This is a tweet from Coach Greg Adams, who you guys just met here at the convention. I saw him tweet this pretty recently, about a week and a half ago. I thought it was fucking fantastic. It perfectly exemplifies what I believe and how I feel about this community. From Coach Greg, my message to men in the Manosphere: while we may see ourselves as different, superior, or inferior to the others, incel, MGTOW, MRA, PUA, red pill dating coaches, most women and feminists see us as one and the same. To them, there is no difference, none. With that in mind, men's issues are scheduled to never be resolved, when there are men holding on to superiority complexes. Women in government can sit to the side and watch us bicker like bitches. And who's over getting the most peace leave? Because that apparently matters the most. Coach is pushing this. This is an excellent message of unifying, getting together, and stop this stupid bitching. To the extent that we can, conflict is normal. Some conflict. Some, not all. But this is excellent. And he's also getting the focus away, like he does in a lot of his videos, away from the peace leave, away from over-focusing on the pussy stuff, which the pickup artists for years were obsessed with. That doesn't mean they didn't contribute to this community. It doesn't mean they don't help men improve their social, dating, and sexual skills, things like that. But this over-focus on it, just like when I expanded the focus of this conference, I called it for a long time a panoramic event for life on earth as a man, because I want to help men and see them do better in every way. Their health, their fitness, dating, relationships, marriage, family, all these things, entrepreneurship, self-defense. We've had Navy SEALs speak at this conference, FBI agents, all kinds of cool shit. Because being a man is a unique experience, and there's a lot to it. It's not just getting your dick wet, or like with Coach Yo yesterday and his stuff. That was pretty funny. If you guys saw us talk, you got to go see that. This is a great tweet. Coach has the right ideas and the right attitude. This tweet didn't just come out of nowhere. This represents how he thinks about the community, and this is how a lot of guys need to think. Everyone, I think, approximately speaking, needs to look in this direction. Fundamentally, this is excellent. This is where we need to go and keep going. The new state of the Manosphere. In the old Manosphere, the pickup artists will yell at you for focusing on anything other than getting laid. Last year, the Red Pill, I think, went after us pretty hard for the patriarch stuff. TradCon. Not even like as a description, traditional conservative, but trying to insult us using this, right? Purple pill, all this garbage. No, the new state of the Manosphere is very collaborative. At the top, you have George Bruno and Coach Greg doing a collab, I think on George's channel. That was recent. That was like a month ago, not even. And they have both individually been doing that all over the place. George Bruno's been collabing with a ton of guys. Coach Greg's been doing it with a ton of guys. Recently, he just interviewed, I think, Sandman on his channel, a huge MGTOW YouTuber. This is excellent. This is how communities connect. This is how audiences connect. There's always some crossover percentage, 10%, 20% of a YouTube channel, if you have a couple hundred thousand guys following you. But when you connect, you introduce these audiences that are shared. They have similar interests and goals and visions and problems. And enemies, too. We all share the same enemies. So collabs are really powerful, and it's a sign that the community is heading in the right direction. It's getting healthier and stronger and more unified. And we're finding, again, common values and issues and enemies. It's good. On the bottom, we have thumbnails from the Red Man Group. They're not here speaking this year, but they most likely will next year, especially Paul Elam. So I interviewed Dr. Warren Farrell, men's rights activist, and civil rights leader Paul Elam on my show, The Red Man Group, earlier this year. This is another example of collabs and coming together as men. Years ago, I actually apologized to Paul a few months ago, because about a year or two ago, for reasons that are complicated, I was going at him on Twitter. I was attacking him, being really combative. Even though I invited him to the convention here, 21, in like 2011, 2012, and he was like, fuck you. So we have a history of being combative with each other. But I talked to him after I met Janice Fiumengo, brought her on TV and stuff in the Red Man Group on Piers Morgan show and stuff. I talked to her. I was like, hey, I want to talk to Pauline by email and kind of make peace, work things out. And we did. And then he came on my show, and we had a fucking fantastic time. He wants to come back on. He wants to come speak at the convention. His wife, basically, I think, is like dying of cancer right now, so he didn't want to speak this year. I don't know if she's going to live much longer. That's why he's not here right now. But he's an awesome dude. He's done great work for decades. And this is another example of these collabs coming together. And the fans love this stuff for good reason, because they're finding new content creators and new speakers they can learn from that are similar but not the same. New perspective, new ideas, disagreements here and there and all that. So all this is happening a lot this year. You've probably noticed this in 2020 and maybe late 2019. The convention has always been doing that, but that's different. It's a physical event. We're seeing this online now too, which is excellent. We need to keep this up and keep pushing it. If you have a favorite YouTuber or whatever, content creator in the Manosphere, and you see them do this, tell them you like it, if you do, and you probably do. Tell them to keep doing it. It's good. Keep going. The new state of the Manosphere also is that we're getting woke. We're going to get super woke. We're going to get diversity and inclusivity in the Manosphere with patriarchy. Before 2019, the patriarchy was not really welcome in the Manosphere. No one had tried this. No one was like, hey, the feminists hate patriarchy. Maybe we should embrace that, and mansplaining and toxic masculinity and all this shit. But we're getting woke. So now we're going to be very inclusive, and we're going to have diversity with patriarchy. Lots and lots of patriarchy, unlimited fucking patriarchy. The future is patriarchy. We're also going to make women great again. We're diverse. We got, make women great again, because they're fat and, super feminist and entitled and all kinds of fucked up shit. It's got to change. I was with Paul Elam, and we were talking about make women great again. And we were just talking about, he likes it a lot. And I was like, yeah, women today just kind of suck. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, this is what it is. It's not good. When you go to other countries, I went to Poland last year. I spent a month there for the convention, Warsaw, Poland, and then another city, Krakow, Poland, like their cultural capital. Women there are amazing. I mean, it was life-changing to see that. And I traveled previously to like 25 countries. So I'd seen a lot of the world, Australia, London, Germany, Sweden, all these places. Sweden has beautiful women, but they're all, it's feminist ground zero. It's a feminist hellscape. Like you don't feel good being there necessarily. They're beautiful women, but they're all super feminist. In Poland, they're super beautiful and they're hot, and they hate feminism. They say, I wore my hat, not this one, but to make women great again everywhere. And one of them even asked me, she's like, are you feminist? I'm like, not even a little bit. She's like, okay, yeah, good. They fucking hate it. They'll openly mock it. It's amazing. And they're not fat. No one's fat there. They're all healthy and fit and stuff. They dress good, they're feminine, they're sweet. I described it when I came back as like 1950s America with iPhones. That's kind of what it felt like. Very positive. They have very healthy gender relations. Men and women there get along. The women, you can feel it. They expect you to act like a fucking man. And the men expect women to act like women. And they do. It's fucking amazing. It's like common sense, basically, but it's awesome to be around it. And growing up in America and living primarily in America my whole life, even with a lot of travel, I never seen that in like a modern kind of first world nation, and it was awesome. I highly recommend you find a country like that and go visit it after get your vaccine and all that shit up your ass or whatever. Don't take the vaccine's gay. The plan scene or plaque scene, I don't know. Anyway, we're getting woke in the Manosphere. It's time we got woke. Inclusivity and diversity with patriarchy and making women great again. The future of the Manosphere, in the 2020s, I think we have a very positive decade for us. It's perilous as well. There's a lot of dangers. Stefan Molyneux is a perfect example of that happened in 2020. Perfect. Other guys, too, have gotten taken out. It could happen to any one of us any day. My 21 studios could get deleted today. Coach Rick Adams, his channels could be deleted tomorrow. Any of these guys, instantly. Stefan Molyneux had no community strikes, the YouTube kind of strike system, where they, kind of like baseball, 3 strikes, you're out. He had nothing when they deleted him. Nothing. 21 Studios has never, ever, 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 ever had a copyright or community strike guideline. I guarantee you tomorrow, if they want to delete us because I pissed them off too much, Thanos shit, whatever. Anyway, they just delete it. They don't give a fuck. Their rules are just bullshit. It's all just bureaucratic garbage at this point. A long time ago, they used to mean something like 2011. These days, it means jack shit. So the future of this community, though, we have a lot of opportunity, even though it's perilous and risky. Where there's risk, there's opportunity. We have a lot. So the future is hope, optimism, and 100% toxic masculinity. We've got to embrace this shit, embrace the hatred. Anything they hate, we embrace, and we throw it back in their face as hard as you can. So the state of the manosphere is strong in 2020. It is stronger than ever, and I believe we have a very positive decade ahead of us. Thank you. That's the presentation. Peace. Thank you. Thank you for the round of applause. I have 8 minutes and 35 seconds for questions if you guys want to ask me anything. If not, it's cool too. Looks like we've got a few. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Microphone, please. Thank you. Otherwise, YouTube people, it sucks for them. The YouTube peons.
One quick comment.
Yep.
YouTube, I'm personal friends with a man who is part of the multi-state suit. So there is war going on in our behalf.
You mean DDJ?
No.
Someone else?
Someone else who probably wouldn't want his name out there because he works for the state. So,
Good.
but there are a lot behind the scenes right now fighting, and this man understands the issues of men. So there's a war on, and we may not see it, but stand.
Yeah.
Second question. When, where, how soon will we know? When's the next one?
Next event?
Yep.
Oh, same time next year, 21 Summit. Poland, we were supposed to do one this year because of COVID, I had to cancel it. COVID next year, 50-50. I got to watch the COVID shit. But 21 Summit, 3 events all over again, right here in Orlando, Florida, about the same time, October 2021. 21 Summit in 2021 in October, probably October 21st, just to make more 21s. 21ception. Next question.
Great job. I really appreciate everything you do, as a lot of people here do. I'm sure everyone. Quick question, unrelated to what you spoke about. I noticed at some point that you are probably hairier than most guys, kind of like I am. How do you respond when either a man or a woman tells you that you need to manscape or that there's something unattractive about you? What do you actually say to that? What are the words or phrases that you throw at them?
First of all, manscaping is super gay, so I don't do it. I keep a few things trimmed, so to speak, but yeah, I'm super hairy, my chest and shit. People actually thought this was a rug on the soap commercial I did with the chick, Soap Me Up Baby. No, it's just how I'm super hairy. Yeah, I just don't give a shit. I like being hairy. I think it's awesome. It's how I was born. It's my DNA. And I find most women love it. A few don't, probably because they have daddy issues or they're fucked up or something. But it's like Sean Connery thing going on. I love it. And if they don't, maybe they're normal and they're not fucked up, but I think most of them are probably fucked up. So men and women are sexually dimorphic, obviously, and our differences, I think, are what attract us. So women are typically not very hairy. They shouldn't be anyway, in my opinion. But as a man, I'm very hairy, and a lot of chicks, I think they appreciate that. It's like I know almost everyone can grow a beard, and chicks love playing with it and shit. It's the same way. They play with all of the hair and all the shit. Everything they say in public is usually bullshit. It's all beta propaganda. So most chicks love, hairy chests and all this stuff, especially if they tell you they don't. Just rub it in their face. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm super fucking hairy. I'm like a gorilla. Whatever, just own it. I like doing one of my favorite game moves is agree and amplify. So anything a girl says, I'll usually try to amplify it in some way. Like grab it, stomp on it immediately. Just like with the media, they're all, you mansplainer. Yeah, I'm fucking mansplaining, shut up. So shit like that. Does that help you at all? I'm just kind of rambling at this point.
No, it's good. Do you have any phrases that you throw out at the particularly aggressive people who tell you you're single because of X, Y, and Z and that should be addressed?
I don't really get a lot of, you mentioned dudes mention the hairy thing too. That's really rare.
No,
if a dude's trying to mention that I'm hairy, I would see it as like an AMOG, kind of like he's an insecure douchebag.
Yeah.
So I'd probably just leave or be like, yo, fuck you. One of my favorite words is like, go fuck yourself. But generally, people just don't fuck with me. I think it's like the sociopathic kind of stare I have. Chicks, like at the hat, chicks, if chicks are doing it, it's a shit test almost every time. Like most women, I think, genuinely like hair on men. And if they're fucking with you, being combative with it, no. But words, I try to be situational, so it's whatever pops in my head. If it's organic and situational, it tends to go a lot better. But yeah, I'd just ignore it too. Like, yeah, whatever, I don't give a shit. because I really don't.
Yeah.
Some girls, I have like hair on my shoulders too. They try to have shoulder pads. I'm like, yeah, and you love it. So I just roll with it, man. I've approached a lot of women, done a lot of shit like that, so it's very natural and organic at this point. And for me, that's what works for me. Some guys, I guess, would get kind of canned stuff. I never got into that. I tried to a long time ago as a pickup artist, and I just couldn't get it. I need to be like in the zone, like doing what I want. Does that help?
Good deal.
Cool.
Thank you very much for your strength and your courage and just your perseverance in what you're doing. It's so important for our families, our sons, and our daughters. There's a baseball cap I saw you wearing yesterday. It said 100% male toxicity.
Oh, it's right here too.
Oh, is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were wearing the Make Women Great Again hat. But anyway, so the 100% male toxicity. What do you think women think about you wearing that?
I haven't actually worn it out in public much yet because I got it during the pandemic. The Make Women Great Again, though, I wear it to a lot of bars and stuff. Yeah, people see it. They get curious. I'm going to walk around the hotel with it, too. The managers and shit I'm talking to. I don't know what they think. I don't really care. I care about if I don't know somebody, my position is that I don't care what they think because they're a stranger. It doesn't mean I hate what they think. I don't even really know what they think. So I just don't care. I focus on what I think. Like, I value, number one, what I think, because it's my life and I'm responsible for it. So I value my own judgment and my own thinking. If I know somebody, I care a little bit about what they think because I know them and I care about them probably. Otherwise, I tell them to get the fuck out of my life. So as far as like strangers, I don't know. I just don't care, man. I have a very positive sociopathic attitude I try to have. I just don't. I don't give a fuck. Leave me alone. Very libertarian attitude with it. But yeah, some chicks would probably be annoyed by it because they're feminists and Hillary voters and shit, nasty women. I just don't give a shit about them. You can still bang them. Sometimes they like banging you anyway because they're it's super polarizing for them. So it's definitely a target on your head wearing this kind of shit. I ain't red hat today, but especially this shit. But I'll wear it again soon because the bars are open out in Florida again, so I'm gonna go back out and wear it immediately. Yeah, I love this shit. I even have the shirt, so I have the hat on, and if I walk away, the shirt will say the feature is masculine. So it's like a double fuck. It's pretty sweet. It's like, can't get away, bitch. Next.
Thank you for a really inspiring speech, and I love the way that you do you, and I have a lot of appreciation for that and for what it means for me and for the men who participate in this movement around the world. I'm wondering if you could tell me and the other men here how you think the 22 convention went. We haven't been able to go in there, and I've heard some stories come out, but just give us an overview.
Yeah, it went really good. I mean, the fact that we got it done in general was a thing, because we were trying to cancel it for months and months and months. And then COVID hit, and I'd actually moved the event along with the Patriarchy from the spring and now to the fall of 21 Summit and get creative and make 21 Summit. 21 Summit was not supposed to happen for several years. I had 21 Summit, or really it was 21 Mega Summit in mind for 2024, 2025. I had to move that forward 5 fucking years. But I think 22Con's going great. We did have to move it. They came after us trying to cancel us. In fact, I had to make a new move that was kind of frustrating for attendees, you guys, a little bit anyway, even for us. For the first time ever, even if you bought a ticket, we didn't tell you where the hotel was at, the venue, because they were so adamant, and they did too. The minute we sent the venue out, within a fucking day, the feminists were calling this hotel, trying to get us canceled on Monday. I sent that out on Sunday to the attendees of this conference and Patriarch and the 22Con. The 24 fucking hours are blowing up the manager's phone. I knew they would fucking do that, which is why we had to do the hotel reservations in a more complicated way, which worked out, but it's a pain in the butt. Anyway, 22Con, I think, went really well. The women are very, very engaged. It's interesting. It's different from men. Men and women are different, right? We're seeing that live in action. The speakers are feeling it. It's not just we're seeing it, I'm in the back, watching something or whatever. The speakers are holy shit, this is a lot different than talking to men. So the women are very engaged. Most are very positive. There's a few feminists, which is fine. We kind of knew that going in. And some of them are, not even the feminists, some of them are just combative. The speakers, they're ready though. They see it now. They're yeah, and they're going at it. It's a lot of fun. 2 of them walked out yesterday, but then I found them in the hallway during Jesse Lee Peterson's speech. But then I found them and talked to them. I was yeah, go back in and be fine. So I'd calm them down like a cat, the cat daddy. Just kind of talk to them, calm them down, pat them a little bit, They go back in. But it went really well. I'm really happy with it. And we won. The win was pulling off that event and filming it. The minute we get the fucking hard drives tonight and we're out of there, boom, done, win. Those videos will get millions and millions of views. You can't, like I told the woman yesterday in my speech, Motherhood First, my keynote there, you can't pack enough women into a conference, even a stadium, and change the course of American history for women, make women great again. The people think make women great again means like individual women, and in a sense it does. But I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking generationally. I think millennial women basically got wiped out by feminism because they were the first generation to have multiple compounding generations of feminism dumped on their head like millennial men. Some millennial men are a bunch of soy boy pussies, a lot of them. Not here, but outside this room. So the millennial women are super fucked up. And honestly, I don't think you could save a lot of them. Even if you tried 24/7, you just can't. They don't want to save themselves. These women here are pretty interested. Outside of that, they don't give a shit. It's just all just, eat, pray, slut, all this garbage they do. But Zoomer women are young. They're at the dawn of their lives as adults, and there's younger women beyond that. And right now, they lack any kind of positive media for women, any kind of positive femininity, education. Outside of very distinct groups like the Mormon culture in certain areas, and Amish and stuff like that maybe, that's it. They have nothing else in culture. If you're a 19-year-old American chick right now, and you want to live a great life and be a feminine woman, where do you go? Cardi B? WAP? All this shit? Oprah? It's all fucking garbage. They have nothing to learn from, and finally, we're building them a body of content, the videos that'll be for free on the internet, they can watch and they can learn from. At least they have the option to make a better decision. That's the one thing that Manosphere bitch about women, being fat and they suck and they're entitled and all this garbage today, and this is true. But we can't just watch them burn to the ground or walk off a cliff. At least be like, yo, if you don't want to walk off a cliff, you can go this way instead. And make women great again is a different path for them. Feminism, we can abolish it, repeal and replace with a couple of decades of work. We can make women great again, change you can believe in. Dream 2020. And we can do it, but it's going really well, and the videos are the win. The media too, they were so obsessed with the conference, the physical conference itself. I'm like, it's not about that. We look like an events company, but really we're a media company. We're making videos of these speeches for the speakers. And then the speakers publish them. We enabled that about 1.5 years ago. The videos from that conference, say Elliot Hulse's speech, me and Elliot will publish that to over 1 million people instantly in like a month from now. 1 million on YouTube between 21 Studios and his channel, plus his Instagram. It's got 380,000 or 400,000 or something. A lot of women follow him too. So we can reach millions of people very, very rapidly, which is what you need to actually make real change. You can't pack a couple hundred women into a room or a couple thousand or 100,000 even, if it'd be crazy, right? It's not going to do anything. You need to reach millions and millions and millions, and video is the only way to do that, especially to reach young women, which is why Make Women Great Again going viral is so useful. We pissed off a lot of tweens, these like 17, 18-year-old girls, through this kid, Curtis Connor, had a bunch of girls following him, which is funny because they blow up our inboxes, all the speakers, but now we have their attention. And they haven't yet fucked their lives up. A lot of them probably will, but now some of them have an option. They have a better option, a wiser, more admirable path to be a better woman. Answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I gotta end. Thank you.